y'all. It's Bridget Catchall with Real Things Living. Today, my guest is Michelle Hensley. She is an author and the founder of Nifty Package Company, a business rooted in care. Can you say hi, Michelle?
Hi, everyone. How are you? Hi, Bridget. Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure, and it's been great getting to know you a little bit before the call. So it's been a joy.
I love meeting people like this, and that's a good thing about Zoom, right? We're on different sides of the country, and we have similarities we found out before we started recording. And by the way, Michelle, I didn't tell you my sister's name is Michelle. My younger
No,
sister, it's a
that's
French name, just kidding. But I just like, to share stories like yours because you had to deal with a lot of, I shouldn't say problems, but we all do, right, in life. But
right.
you started your own business, but you did it after your husband had passed away, is my understanding.
Right.
And how long ago did this happen?
He passed away in 2014, and tomorrow's actually the anniversary. So it'll be 11 years tomorrow. But the other thing is, I started the business after age 50. So usually that's when well, I wouldn't necessarily say winding down our life, but at the same time, our career's in full swing. Well, mine just started. So I started my business a year after he passed away. So October 2015 is when I started.
Well, it definitely is something well, I mean, what prompted you the kind of business you have is like a wrapping business? What
Yes.
then you have a passion for that. That's where it started.
Well, it's interesting. A lot of people, they take their craft or whatever their gift is and build a business out of it. I actually took my why because I had a reason and then it evolved. Just as we chatted earlier, I had to pivot. So prior to losing my husband, just to give a little backstory, I was a pastor's wife, homeschooling children, and we had a blended family. He has 4 children. He lost his first wife to the same cancer he ended up passing from. I had a counselor pro bono. Everything I did was giving things away. Where I was a counselor, if somebody wanted to donate money, they could, but otherwise I did it all for free. And I was supporting him, running the church, and again, raising our children. And then I started and ran a nonprofit feeding the working poor. So these are people who, during the economic crisis, especially in California, were hit so hard. They were very cash poor and couldn't buy groceries. So many times almost all of them were working. 2012, I was counseling a doctor and his wife, and my husband said, "Hey, can you look at this mole I have growing out of my arm on my arm?" And I'm a little concerned about it. So he went in to see this doctor and got the pathology and found out that he had stage 3 metastatic melanoma. He had 7 tumors under his arm. And in 30 days, it went to stage 4. I'm just thinking, okay, I pray. I'm a pastor's wife. He's a pastor. How is this happening? And why is this happening? And so it kind of just threw our whole family into a tailspin for the next few years as we were dealing with the chemo and all of the different things we were trying to do. Anyway, to save him, he passed May 28th in 2014, and the church paid me for a year. But now I had to pull back because the associate pastor needed to step up. When you're there, they're going to come to you. They've been coming to you for years and years. And so kind of fragmented my family. It was very sad, a very difficult time. But I found out I cared for children, I cared for the poor, but I forgot about the widows. And I think until you're in a situation where you're called to live out what your vision and passion and your value system is, sometimes you're faced with the very same thing that you have to figure out. And so, as a pastor's wife, he did everything for me. I did not manage the finances. I had no idea what was going on. It was a little bit of a mess, to say the least, but without going into detail on that, I didn't know how to pay a bill online. I had no idea. You and I talked about our sons. My oldest son had to come in and teach me how to take my paper bill, translate it into electronic, and then pay my bill online. I freaked out over that. He threw all my paper bills away. I woke up in the middle of the night and I had to go and get them all out of the trash can, lay them out nice and neat, organize them, put them in my file. Like, so I was such a weirdo, but that's how it was. Your old things you have to give up some of your old ways of thinking. And I definitely had to do that. So then after a year that church paid me a stipend, now I had to go back and work and figure out how to create an income. So the nonprofit, I closed that down, and it actually transitioned now into a foundation for widows where I give them a small grant so they can start their own business. I never foresaw my future. I had no idea what was going to happen. So I was offered the opportunity to interview with a company, and I have 2 master's degrees, not master's in business and a master's in counseling. So I'm well educated, but I had been out of the workforce. The whole world had changed by this time. So the gentleman is interviewing me, and he's telling me, okay, this is what the role entails. You're going to be a director with 300 staff. You're going to be on call 24 hours a day because we're a 5-star organization. And so since you're going to be running the facility, you have to be available. So I just got tunnel vision. It's like, this is not the dream I had, and it's not the dream my husband and I had together. So I still have 2 children to launch from homeschooling. So I was driving home that day with very strong faith. I'm like, Lord, what do I do? I mean, is there any way I could start a business where I could work when I wanted and could versus had to? And so if I like that idea, would other women like that? So when I got back to my house, one of my sons said, hey, Mom, you had a gift basket business. Why don't you start that again? I said, that's a great idea. I wonder, hey, girls, there's a lot of gals around me at the time. What do you guys think about this idea? My sister, my friend, my daughter-in-law, and they all said, we love that idea. And I said, well, what we're going to do is I love the Uber business model. So we're going to learn to work from home most of the time and then come in and work on projects. And so they're all, I'm game, I'm game. So we all figured out how to work remote, and we started putting all our receipts together, all of our spreadsheets, things like that. So that began to grow. I still had to go back and go to work full time, and I did with a financial services person. I became a life, grief, and finance coach during that time as well, because I wasn't sure which direction I was heading, and developed a class for widows on practical skill living from loss to advisor. So then once that happened, the business started growing, and we were mastering the skills of working remote. Kind of got made fun of during that time, networked a lot, learned how to speak up, even though I was terrified, and just put myself out there. Now I had to figure out a for-profit versus nonprofit, which was quite the challenge. So then in 2018, was praying. I see my van sitting there empty, not being utilized all the time, actually. And I thought, gosh, what could I do with that van? I make gifts. I wonder if I could wrap gifts. So I put up a webpage, gift wrapping near me. And I got called probably within about 4 days. I drove over to a current client's house, and I took all my paper, put it in the van, and wrapped all the gifts. And I thought, man, those look amazing, and forgot that I did not label the gifts. I had to unwrap and rewrap everything. It was a mess. Yeah. But I learned. So that just took off. And in 2019, still a year before COVID, I was requested by Too Faced Cosmetics to do a large scale gift wrap design and fulfillment project, which threw us into the fulfillment side. Well, there was 1 million hits on that launch. And then summer of 2019, keep in mind, we kept perfecting our remote work. And I had a male business coach say to me, Michelle, that's never going to work. It's just not going to work. Who does remote? Like, that's what he said. So I thought, well, I'm going to show you one day. I said, do you like coffee or do you like wine? I'm going to send you a coffee or a bottle of wine the day this succeeds. And so in the summer of 2019, I got called from the Kardashian estate manager. I didn't even know who they were, and had to ask my kids, I don't know who Kim and Kanye are. And the boys are freaking out. Mom, they're number 200 Trump. You have to go do this job. So I went out, met with Kim, and she hated all my designs up front. And I walk outside. This is when I transitioned from pastor's wife, mom, to business owner. I'm like, you brought me here. She didn't like anything I did. I'm not going home without a sale. So I walk back, and everyone's watching me, my team and her team, because I had to have a lot of people there. So I said, does anybody have any fabric? And she said, yes, I have. Somebody said I have fabric, one of her assistants. And so I said, I'll do a Firashoki wrap. I did that. She loved it. So that launched me into the celebrity side. So
wow.
that continued to grow. And now we wrap for A-listers. Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber are one of our clients. We've got several A-listers and high net worth families, but that's just about 20% of the business. The rest is wrappers all around the US, jobs all around the US. And now I have the largest mobile gift wrapping business in the nation. And as a result, I was asked to talk to universities about how I developed this. And instead, I decided to create a class and wrote the book and started my podcast and YouTube.
Really cool. I mean, that's a lot. You just focused on your skill set and what you got creative, and that and creativity solves a lot of problems.
It does.
It really does. Some people blow that off, but I think it's important to embrace your personal creativity. I didn't think I would ever think of what you said, like wrapping that present in a shirt or fabric. That never would have.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't know though. In that moment, that's what came to you. I think that is awesome that you're started to help widows. You figured that out. They need help too. My mom's a widow, but she's older. I mean, much older. She's a much
you
older.
know what she went through.
Correct. And that's why we had to, you want to support everybody. I think being being there around just people just need support in general. And I think a gift is I think it's magical, especially when you get it unexpectedly. Is that the right term?
It is, yes, because our whole mantra for Nifty is to bring joy and bringing joy to not only the person who purchased the service, but the recipient. So we get to learn about them, and then I get to help clients learn about how to gift to their recipient. So we just won the opportunity to be the gift wrapper for the new administration. They reached out and asked if we would create a whole design for all the 5 major principles.
Wow.
And yeah, I'm very excited. We won that job. And she said, "You earned it. You deserved it. We did a lot of work as a team." And so, you and I talked earlier, you don't always have the skill set up front. You have to master your craft. Like everybody, some people have a gift and other people don't. I had to learn my gift. Like I had to figure it all out, through the pivots and changes.
But I think you have a passion to help other people, and it came back from your previous experiences. I think that is the root of your, or the foundation, excuse me, of your business. You want to help people, and then you learned these new skills to extend that help to others. That's
Mhm.
just Bridget's take on all this. And I just think it's just fascinating. Sorry about that. I'll delete that noise. The You also mentioned you have other people around the country wrapping things, helping as well. So do they deliver those locally, or is it mailed? I'm just curious.
Well, there's a couple things that we do. We get hired to be in what's called an activation. So they might hire a team of Nifty, which is my business, uh, 10 gift wrappers. So they'll be on site somewhere. Or if they're a gift they want wrapped, they tend to send it to us, my corporate, which is in California. Or we also have gift wrappers across the nation who are like subcontractors in terms of they can work through the Nifty name, but they've been trained by me or they have a good skill set. And I also have people who have purchased a license, which means it's similar to a franchise, but not quite, to where they're trained and then they can earn money. It's
That's
very
fun.
cool.
Yes, it is, and I'm sure majority of them are women. I'm assuming.
They are. I have probably 6 men out of about 62, but they're primarily all women. And it's
I
a
just,
great side hustle. Oh my gosh.
as you were talking, it made me think as a college student when I transferred to I went to the University of Wisconsin because I just wanted to get a different place to be with my future husband. I had to learn to rap. I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but
But you did it.
I got good at it. And so now, and during the holidays, I've gotten so that's the thing I learned, a skill set I didn't know I had. I enjoy wrapping presents. It's kind of funny, but I don't put as many name tags on there anymore. I just kind of customize it. Right. I just think that's amazing. I have a lot of printers, by the way, who I've worked with for book projects, and they'll give me free wrapping paper. They, some of
Do
them,
they print it?
well, they do it as they print the wrapping paper in their facility, and they do it as their way of doing as a gift to their clients, the wrapping paper itself. And it's really super. thick quality based on what the stuff you might get at Walmart or you know what I'm saying.
Right. And that's the same with us. We do all American made
Mm.
and it's very high quality. So our gift wrapping paper is not inexpensive, but it's made here and it's supporting US. Please, I am going to email you, please.
I won't mention here, but they're global, but they have two major facilities here. They bought the American printer that was here locally, but they're still American based. But that's the best present ever I get from them. Like, oh, cool, I could reuse this paper.
And we get requests all the time. And I'm always looking for American made because it's the same with ribbon. We have lost a lot of our facilities where they do this work and even the ribbons. And so that's been the challenge for companies that are in the textile industry because so much work did not stay.
Right. There's a lot. And I don't do like print, like I help people with production on like a lot with books. I don't do stuff I've done stuff in Canada, right?
Yep.
Because people don't realize that's where majority of our paper comes from and is Canada. And so we don't get charged tariffs on that. They think that like, no, you don't. But everybody, you got to understand I'm in the business. I understand it. The supply chain has changed constantly. I did at one point did help a client who needed some help in India, but I was just there to I shouldn't use the word spy, but to go check on the facilities, how they were.
Very cool.
And I'm like, this is why your quality is not good, right? I saw the facility and I found some other places they could go to, but I have a background at marketing manager for like Heidelberg, who here in the United States, the North American
Yes.
version, and so that's kind of how I've always been fascinated with the details, right, for things, and that's my skill set. I don't know, it's good and bad. Don't be offended if I give too much.
It's great. I think
Right.
it's
It's very helpful. And like you found this, I think it's wonderful that you're helping in general, helping people with presents because it just brings out so much emotion in a positive way. That's how
it's how do you feel when you receive something that's beautifully wrapped and thoughtful? And it doesn't have to be an expensive gift. It's just thoughtful. And, it's like some people are like, I love the idea of, just making sure the presentation is right and well done.
yeah, it just brings so much just in general. I prefer to get it wrapped rather than stuffed in a bag. I know a lot of people are
Mhm.
stuffing them in bags because it takes some effort.
Uh-huh.
And I think that means a lot. Like I mentioned, there's emotion involved with it. And I'm going to be more gentle when I'm opening the package. I mean, that's just,
Right.
no, like for kids, though, that's a different story. But I just
Yeah.
means so much. It provides that person that's receiving it, think they still have some value. That's kind of I'm just visualizing the emotions that they're expecting or getting. Just like
Yeah.
even card in the mail, same thing.
When I have a little granddaughter, well, she's not little anymore, she's 9, but when I would send her cards, I send them all handmade cards a lot. Like I
Oh,
make the
awesome.
cards and I have a video of her because she got a card from me in the mail and how cute she was carrying this card, and there are the smallest things, but those gestures mean a lot. And it's just, I love doing that. You hit the nail on the head. It evokes an emotion. I like to do that. So I want someone to know they're cared for and thought about in the midst of busy. We do a lot. I personally do a lot of handwritten notes because it has a 97% open rate.
Yes, more than if it's typed on the envelope. I understand that need for that in some instances, but this personal connection that you're making, it's a personal connection. And
It's,
yeah, it's helpful.
with the rise of AI, because we do baskets too. So we do luxury gift baskets. They can be $200 to $1,000 to $1,500. We have very nice gifts that we do, organic fruit baskets, a lot of that. All of our gifts have handwritten notes in them. And a lot of the companies now the notes are underneath the UPS label where everyone will not see it, because it's all done by a machine.
Yes.
We hand pack, hand curate. We don't keep a lot of stuff on the shelf because it's all handmade. So it's just we want to be that difference. And I think whatever business you're in or whatever adversity you come through, what is different and unique about you? And how can you help others?
I like that, the being unique, be you. Going back to what you said, starting over 50s, embracing that identity, you're being you. We had talked before our ages. I'm going to be 6.0 version of Bridget next week. I call it like, how I'm just joking about all these mobile apps. Well, I'm the version in it, and you just improve. I think you just
Yeah,
improve, right?
I think so. I think so. I think there's a lot to offer when we're a certain age because we've been through a lot of these experiences and now can share them with others, hopefully. And you don't, my whole thing is don't become bitter as you age, become better,
Yes,
And I think some people, bitterness is what they're known for. And that's not what I want to be known for.
that's a good point. What you want to, people, there's a phrase out there, I think, oh, it's not what you say or do to people, it's how you make them feel in a way. And
Mhm.
again, receiving a gift that's like that you're helping people with, they're gonna remember that person.
Yeah.
You just gotta, we need that love. We need that. I
Yeah.
think it's love.
There's a lot of adversity out there. I listened to a couple of your podcasts, the young man who was in the car accident and then the gal who lost her son. And it's, both of them have learned to embrace their adversity and made good use out of it. It's not easy. There are difficult days.
Oh, I know that when the woman was telling me about her son dying, I was trying so hard to not cry during the recording because it was a drug overdose. He had a drug addiction. And so it's sad, when you have to deal with the death, but in any shape or form. But she, again, like you, she moved forward and she's helping other people deal with that grief,
Yeah.
her grief. And everybody's situation is different, but I believe in some other person I talked to, we're like, screw the algorithm. We're
Yeah.
saying to be different, you need to be unique and not blend in with everything else because you're not going to make a good impact. I mean, my goal is to
And
not affect everybody, but I want to affect some people in a good way.
yeah, I used to think when I was young, when I was 18 and 19, oh, I want to change the world. And when you're older, it's like, can I just change myself? And then can I help somebody else, like one person? And there you have your value system and things shift and your focus is different. And how can I inspire? Like that's my mission. How can I inspire somebody to do better or to come out of their situation that could be difficult? Yeah.
That is true. That is like we mentioned before we recorded, like my father-in-law, I'm sorry, my stepfather passed away, and my mom was a psychologist, right? But it was
Oh,
hard on her because she had a heart attack at home. But we
oh
helped
my God.
her. Yeah, that's even more fun to try to do CPR on your husband. But she's helping people still. She's still going out there, and her role has always been to help military spouses, like you're helping the widows. So she always helped the spouses because those people, they lose the soldiers die, Memorial Day was yesterday based on today's recording, but she's always had that impact and just helping in that way. And I've learned just to be kind and be patient, try to be patient. That's one thing we have stopped. We're just always in a rush to do stuff here. And I think in our current world. Go, go, go. Like, yes, I like to run, by the way, Michelle.
Oh,
But
good. I like to hike.
but I call it yin and yang. Then I come, later I do the yoga and stuff. But I'm just fascinated with people like you who are helping and you found this skill. You learned a skill and you're helping. And it does, it evokes emotions and gives people value. I love that you embraced the challenges and you didn't ignore them. I call it embracing challenges.
Yeah, it's very true. You have to. It's like, okay. And I think sometimes we forget how resourceful we can be. I think we find all the reasons why we can't do something, but there's a reality to why, how can I? And if I don't have the answer, can I find someone who does?
Yes.
And you're doing the same thing with your background and with what you've gone through with your cancer. And now you're here helping others with these podcasts because you're sharing stories of people's resilience and coming back up. And okay, it doesn't mean you don't get knocked down. It doesn't mean you don't fall down the hill. It means how do I get back up?
Right. I just want to inspire people to keep moving forward. So
Yeah.
that's really what it is. And that's where it came from. I was getting positive feedback. And that's kind of like, I needed that, right? Because like, am I
Yeah.
wasting my time? I mean, that's what I'm sure you've thought that as well.
Yeah.
You're not wasting your time. And it is, like you said earlier, just to reach a few people. That's the whole goal. And I'm glad that you started a for-profit because that is something we need that as well.
Yeah.
We need
Can't support a church if you don't have the income coming in. And I had a really difficult mindset change. I couldn't figure out what was wrong. And it really was, okay, you're no longer giving and serving in terms of ministry. Now you are building a business and you need to be the best merchant. So I had to learn to be a good merchant of where I was. So I did that. And now I keep doing that. I do that every day. How can I be better today?
that mindset. That is something that we just need to think about every day when we get up. Every day is a gift, right?
It's so true. It's so true. I
Yes.
mean, anyway,
So for those that are listening, what is you think one takeaway if someone needs to think about if they're having negative thoughts about them moving forward on something? What is one takeaway you have for them?
I would say be prepared for adversity, and manage your expectations. So embrace adversity. What can I learn from it? And I think sometimes we think, well, that's so cliche. But the truth is, if you really think about it, understand where you're at, understand that there are a lot of normal things you're going to walk through, especially when you lose somebody, a spouse or a son or a child or whatever. I think that would be really difficult, to be quite honest. But embrace where you're at. Know that we carry, each one of us has a cross to carry. My cross is going to look very different than yours. But I'm going to keep moving forward, as you said earlier, and then manage my expectations. I think we live in a culture where we celebrate optimism, but the truth is there's a reality to life that loss happens, adversity happens, difficulties, setbacks, and how am I going to manage the expectation for that? So that's what I would say.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. We just need to just pause and do what Michelle was saying. I think this is really helpful, and I love that you're helping so many people. And that's why we need to talk about this. People need to be aware of, of what you're doing. And the gift is so helpful. It's so helpful. So, Michelle, where can people learn more about you?
Okay. A couple places, thank you for asking, is niftypackage.co is my business. That's the baskets, the gift wrapping, the gift fulfillment. My personal brand is Michelle M. Hensley. There is another Michelle Hensley out there. So you've got to have the M in the center. Then I have a YouTube video and I have a podcast as well. On both of those, I talk about women in the gift wrapping, gift space, side hustle over 50 space, and then women who have sold their businesses and done well in terms of that's how they did it. So there's a lot of that. And then Instagram, Michelle Hensley, and same with Nifty Package Co.
And what is the name of your book again?
Mastering the Art of Mobile Gift Wrapping, where convenience meets creativity. And they can find that if they want to. They can email me. I am very available. So Michelle at niftypackage.co. And if they want my phone number, they can check it out. I'm in both places, but there is a free book. So if they want, they can go on the Michelle M. Hensley site and order a free book, and I'll be happy to send it. But it's basically my story of waking up and trying to figure out how I'm going to live life to today.
That's awesome. So, for those that are listening, I'll include the links that Michelle mentioned in the description. And I love your tenacity and your resilience and your positivity. It's just helping affect so many great people in this world.
Great to be on, Bridget. Thank you. What a blessing you are.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Michelle.